Welcome into Illini Drive. I am Alec Busse. We are back after a week off. I kind of needed the week off, and I always forget this, like, 2 weeks right before finals are just an onslaught of you're just getting crushed.
I am dying.
Like, it's rough, dude. Like, I looked at my, like, planner, like, calendar thing Sunday before I came back, and I was like, I'm sure I'm not going to have...
I haven't even put stuff in my planner.
Oh, I do. I have to. I looked at that, and I was like, I'm not going to have that busy a week. Like, it'll be fine. Like, right back from break. No, three papers due. 1,600 word assignment.
I was just giving up because I don't even know what I have to. I don't know. I'm not on top of it.
Mine's not too bad, but I just kind of...
I just have, like...
I got to clutch a final.
What class?
Econ 103. I got to clutch that final.
I'm taking that next... I'm taking 102.
It's not bad.
Next semester with Vasquez.
Oh, that's easy.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. No, 103 finals. Actually, no, I did do bad, but they curve it a lot.
Okay.
Well, like, I think I got a C, and it's like a B.
On the final, you got a C?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and then they curve it like a whole letter grade.
I got to clutch it pretty good because I kind of messed up pretty bad in that class.
You got it.
It's all right. You're on track to graduate, right?
Full faith.
Well, I got to pass this class.
Are you in the fall? Are you graduating in December?
No.
No, you're spring?
No,
okay.
Spring, yeah.
There's so many of you guys that are going in the fall, though.
Gavin, Isaac.
Yeah.
All right. Good show today. We've got Illinois versus Miami. That's not going to be good to talk about, though, I guess.
No positives, really, from that game.
There are some, actually, I think.
I think the only one is Kofi shooting well from the free throw line.
There's a couple.
Yes.
There's a couple, I think. Hidden ones. They're hidden, but you can find one.
Maybe.
And you guys know where I was at before the season.
We'll see if I refute this.
Then we're going to talk about, like, the leadership concerns that Illinois basketball has, because clearly they have some. Brad Underwood's saying...
Culture issues.
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
Was not supposed to happen.
Him saying
Not in year 3.
all those things about, they weren't ready for the game, and it was evident during shootout, 3 bad practices before the game against Miami. That's all really, really bad and really interesting to hear, I guess. And then, lastly, we're going to do an off-season checklist for football. I know there's a bowl game still coming, but it is officially off-season for Illinois football and programs around the country. Once you play your last game, it is the off-season. So we're going to hit those 3 topics tonight, and then Thursday we're going to have another really good show for you as well. But let's start with a couple of Illinois football players being named to various All-Big Ten teams. Dele Harding and Wale Betiku were named to All-Media teams for defense. Dele Harding, first team, Wale Betiku, third team. I was kind of a little surprised Betiku was third. I think Harding deserved it.
I'm surprised he was on a team. I mean...
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That I was surprised he made a team. Sorry.
He hasn't, no offense to Wale, he hasn't done anything since the beginning of the season, in my opinion. Like, nothing...
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just been kind of there. He's just been kind of there.
I don't know.
The injury slowed him down a lot, though.
His ankle injury was more severe than we all thought originally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It had to be like a high ankle sprain or something.
I know Jake Hansen missed games at the end, but how is he not?
4 games is pretty significant.
It's a lot.
I guess, but I don't know.
It's a third of the season.
It'll be interesting to see if Illinois gets him back for their bowl game, and it'll be interesting to see where Illinois goes for that.
The way Lovey was talking about it, he seemed like a lot of the guys that were out for the Northwestern game were going to be back.
Yeah, he did. Dre Brown, third team All-Big Ten from the coaches. I think that's...
For punt or kick return.
Yeah, for kick return, sorry. I think that if the coaches name it to you, I think that's a little bit more of an honor to the players. At least it would be to me.
Dele Harding made third team all coaches.
Good for him.
For Big Ten defense, I know.
I feel like that would just be more because it shows that your competition is recognizing how good of a player you were during the season. This one is very well deserved. Blake Hayes, Big Ten Punter of the Year.
Absolutely.
First team All Big Ten, obviously. He averaged 44.8 yards a punt, which is second in Illinois history. He downed 28 inside the 20-yard line. 13 of those were inside the 10. Just a great year and two punts over 50 yards.
I don't know if he was ever named Special Teams Player of the Week, though, throughout the entire season.
Yeah, because he wasn't after the Purdue game, and people were really upset about that.
Yeah, and then he comes back out of nowhere to win, Player of the Year.
Maybe they were just holding off.
Good for him, though. Yeah. Good for him. He deserves it.
We'll just give you the big one.
We'll give you the big one. We'll give you the one that matters.
Yeah.
And then lastly, there was a couple named All Big Ten honorees, so special teams, whatever. Jake Hansen was a special all mention or whatever term you want to use. Nate Hobbs also in that group. Stanley Green, a little bit surprised he was in that group after missing the first couple games, but he was pretty good. And then someone I thought actually might have deserved to be on an All Big Ten team, Jamal Milan. I think he deserved to be on third-team media or third-team coaches. Maybe we could make that argument a little bit for Nate Hobbs too.
Well, Hobbs and Milan got honorable mentions.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They both deserve that at the very least. I think you can maybe make a case, especially for Milan.
It wasn't always consistent, though.
Yeah, he didn't put up numbers.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough for a defensive tackle to do, but there are other defensive tackles in the Big Ten that did put up numbers, so you just have to recognize them first.
You do. True. And overall, it was a good year for Illinois football. I think it exceeded all three of our expectations, and it'll be interesting to see where they go following this really interesting way to end the season with their bowl game. It'll be interesting to see where that goes on December 8th. Wow, we're only 5 days away from that.
Quick lane or pinstripe?
I don't think they're going quick lane. I think they have a better chance to go red box than pinstripe.
Really? I think
red
they
box
lost
than
their
quick
red
lane.
box.
I think they lost red box, too.
I think it's going to be pinstripe.
I think it's pinstripe.
But I think it's a better chance to go red box than quick lane.
Okay.
Because I think Michigan State's going to get stuck going to quick lane because Illinois beat them, and each program is 6-6 on the year.
That's what I was saying, too.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for Illinois to go to quick lane.
For Illinois to win, too, I think it'd be better for them to play in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah, I mean...
Which I think I normally don't say a bowl win.
It's a better venue and everything like that.
49ers play in the Red Box one. That's where they play.
I mean, yeah.
And it's warm weather.
True, warm weather was
The players all want warm weather.
Everyone wants warm weather that's going to be attending that game.
But, I mean, they play at Illinois. They can play in cold weather, so it's...
Yeah.
It's not like they're a warm weather team going to a cold weather. So, I mean, I don't really think there's a big difference for them.
I think winning is important for them, and I don't normally think winning a bowl game is that.
A season would be huge.
Yeah.
I agree, and I don't normally think winning a bowl game is that big of a deal. I know we've talked about that in the past. I do think it is for this Illinois team to get that bad taste out of their mouth. Really would help recruiting if you're 7-6, I think, and then also, just nice to have a winning record, like you said, Eric.
Boom, boom.
I have a lot of respect for him as a basketball player.
He had like long guys and Io and DeMonte like contesting those shots.
And
still
every time, bang, bang, bang. I was like, I was amazed by him.
Competitive guy. Knows he's small. Knows he's going to get a lot of trash.
And then the charge he took too was a hell of a play on his part too. I mean, Io needed to read that play better, but at the end of the day, that's a huge play by like
to get in front of it.
It's a gamble too. At the end of the game, you have 4 fouls. You have 4 fouls. You're putting the game in the ref's hands and make that call.
I don't know if it's a call I would have made, and I'm not saying it's the reason Illinois lost. And even if Io makes that shot, Illinois wins.
It was the right
they
call,
don't deserve to win. I don't know.
I thought it was the right call for sure. He beat Io to the spot.
Yeah, I think the Miami coach said it at the end. That was just such like a gutsy play to make because Io's a good free throw shooter. So even if he doesn't make that, he's scoring in line and
refs were inconsistent.
Yeah, and I don't know. That shows that he is the leader on that team.
He's
and
that guy. Like Underwood said after the game, he's that guy when
who's gonna do
the game's
it
on the line and he's gonna end it.
Another one for Miami that played really well, DJ Vasiljevic. He had 20 points, man. Electric from behind the arc, 6 of 9, 7-11 from the field. Very impressive game from him. That's what the scouting report said.
Yeah, he was lights out, and Illinois defensively, I mean, we'll just get into the first half. Defensively, Illinois was not there. Like, they didn't show up to the game.
Nope.
They turned the ball. What hurt them even more was the 10 turnovers they had in the first half. It led to 17 points for Miami. They scored off of those, got 17 points off those turnovers, and that makes it a 33-31 game at halftime. I mean, obviously, like, Illinois is not going to turn the ball over at all in the half. Like, they'll eventually turn it over and that'll lead to points. But what I'm saying is it wouldn't have been 50-31, I think it was, going into halftime. It would have been probably high 30s, low 30s for for that halftime score. But Illinois just shot themselves in the foot. They didn't come out with any sort of energy whatsoever. Miami was coming in there trying to win this game and steal it at State Farm, and they did. And in that first half, I mean, at one point, I'm pretty sure Miami was shooting 75% from three, I want to say.
Yeah,
and
that was for a while in the first half.
Yeah, you were like, we were at the midpoint of the first half. Miami was still shooting like that, and they were taking a lot of threes. You couldn't give DJ any space. He was knocked down. Illinois couldn't guard a high ball screen with Chris Likes the entire first half because they had a big guy going downhill against Likes. That's a terrible matchup for them. And Illinois, it just
looked like the life was sucked out of them after the first 5 minutes of the game.
Well, and I know
they had nothing. And I know we all heard it. Underwood talk about the shoot around and how it was the worst shoot around he's had since being at Illinois. But you still have to come out with some energy just because the shoot around doesn't go well. And I think that reflects a lot on, like we've said, the leadership. And yeah, you have that bad shoot around. That's supposed to be a motivation to be like, okay, we're going to fix that in the game. Like, that's not going to happen. And I feel like no one said that. I'm sure they just came out so flat and so just with nothing in the tank, it seemed like.
I feel like it's one of those things where a bad shoot around comes from bad practices, and Underwood mentioned that he did a poor job setting up practices for them to be successful, but ultimately the players are the ones that are practicing. A bad shoot around leads to a bad performance in the game. Gabby, I know I said to you before Underwood's presser last night that I thought the story of the game was the first 8 minutes for Illinois. They turned it over 6 times before the 12-minute mark in the first half. I did the math last night. Miami scored 10 points off of those 6 turnovers by the 8-minute mark. And at that point, I was going to ask Underwood about that, and I think it was Derek Piper that asked it right before me, which I guess that makes me feel a little bit better about myself. But you see, Underwood cut me off, and he said, it was too big of a hole to come out of. And they came, hats off, Illinois didn't give up.
27 in the first half is ridiculous.
That's a gigantic.
It is.
It's unacceptable at home, on national television.
It's unacceptable wherever you're playing.
Exactly, but I mean,
it makes it worse
when it's at home on your own court and it's a mediocre Miami team, honestly.
And you can say so much about, they came back, the resiliency. Sure, there's resiliency and there's fight there, but where was that fight in the first half? You can't just have fight in the second half when you realize, oh crap, this game is now almost out of our hands. Now we have to fight. Where's that fight coming in? Where's that energy coming in? That's the problem. Yeah, you can talk all day about the resiliency, but that doesn't really matter when you came in with no fight. What did they think? This was going to be a cakewalk? No. Miami's still, a solid team despite, the last loss they had, and their record's not great, but it just seems like they came into this game with, and then at halftime, they had a lot of pressure coming out of that. So now it's oh, shoot, now I have to turn on the energy. Now I have to turn on the Jets. And I feel like that's something we've kind of seen this whole season so far. I know we're only several games in. Brad mentioned this is a long season, but season's not going to last too long after regular season if you can't come out with fire.
The thing is, too, now it puts so much pressure on this team in the Big Ten. Yeah. Because the schedule was weak. It's not last year's non-conference schedule where you had the opportunity, if you lose to a Power 5 program, all right, we play another one. Yeah. You go out to Hawaii and you play in Maui. Okay, you lose one or you lose 2 there. All right, now you can bounce back and you can beat a team. And granted, Illinois didn't win out there in Hawaii last year, but you still played so many more high-level major opponents. They don't have that this year. They got crushed by Arizona in the second half. They got crushed by Miami in the first half. You've played 2 good halves and 2 awful halves against your 2 Power 5 non-conference opponents. You have 1 non-conference major opponent left in Mizzou. And that's a game that, let's be honest, guys, is always close. Yeah, that game is never a blowout. And Illinois is better than Mizzou on paper. Yes. They are significantly better than Mizzou.
All day, any day.
Of it too.
But there's no reason that I expect Illinois to go into that and beat them. And beat them the way they're supposed to, unless they do something in this next 3-game stretch against Maryland, Michigan, and
Michigan State.
No, the other non-conference opponent.
Oh, they play.
All right, we should know this, but we don't. Unless you, but
we don't have the whole schedule memorized.
Yeah,
oh, man.
The third game that you have is against a non-power program. You should route that team, just like you routed the teams when we were on Thanksgiving break. But those games don't mean anything. The games that mean stuff are Arizona, Miami, Mizzou, and this team's not ready for Maryland. They're not ready for Michigan.
Terrified.
They're going to get clapped if they go out there and they're not ready to play.
They have to play a perfect 40 minutes in both of those games if they even want a chance to win those games. Because Michigan right now is the hottest team in the country. Some people wanted to vote them as put them as number one from going unranked to number one. I know Scott Ritchie from the News Gazette voted for Michigan to be number one. That's how good this team is right now. This Michigan team is on fire at all points, and Underwood mentioned it last night. They have guys that are still carrying over that winning mentality from their deep run last year in March Madness. They still got Xavier Simpson. They still got John Teskey. Those two guys alone set a standard for a culture of winning. And the same goes for Maryland right now with Anthony Collin. These two teams consistently win these last couple of seasons because they have built a culture, and that's something that Underwood is trying to establish. And frankly, it falls on him that in year 3 you're still having to coach effort. And
he said before the season, this was like one question I asked him at his preseason press conference. His last one was, your first year was all about tearing down the bad culture that Gross had left. Losing's okay. You tore that down in your first year. Your second year was all about building it, and it was the worst year in Illinois basketball history.
But it seemed like there was a culture established.
You're right. And the culture was turnovers and playing hard. Despite losing, it was playing hard. Coming into this season, he said, I feel good about where the culture is. Can it always build? That's what culture is about. It's always evolving and getting better and stronger and improving. Well, now, what's your culture? What's your identity? Yeah. They don't have one.
It seems like on the court, there's no connection between anybody except with Kofi. Yeah.
Like, that's their identity. It's Kofi Coburn.
That can't be it.
And that's not an identity.
And the thing is, it doesn't look like Trent and Isle have any better. It seems like their connection got worse. It seems like it's all like there's no team. Like there's no team chemistry there. It's all, okay, Felice is going to drive to the hoop and make a layup. It's never like it's hard to explain, but you guys, I feel like you guys can see it too. There's no team flow on offense especially, and I think that's just, and then you hear Underwood talk about the effort, and that was the problem last night. How can effort be a problem in this team? It just, that makes me think it comes down to what's going on outside of the game. What's going on in practices? What's going on in the locker room that there's not the team chemistry there? What's going on outside of basketball? Yeah. Are players not focused?
Do they not like each other?
Are they not, like, do they not care? I mean, I'm sure the care is there, but are they working outside of practice to get better? Like, what's been going on to the fact that now, like, there's nothing on the court that's making me like, this team is close. This team wants to win. You think about how Juwan Howard's come in one. This is his first season, and those players want to win together.
They already had that culture established, and this Illinois team, it's obvious they have good pieces everywhere, but these pieces aren't meshing together right now. The spread offense, seeing Kofi at the pinch post makes no sense in the spread offense, and the way the team just doesn't function well when they do that. I mean, in the second half, they finally spread it out and started doing more just simple high ball screen action and stuff like that, and just simplifying it down. I feel like I'm talking about the Bears right now with Nagy having to simplify things down for Mitch Trubisky. I think Brad Underwood just has to simplify things down for Kofi. I mean, if you have to run a basic high school
a John Gross offense.
Yeah, if
you run John Gross's offense with this personnel, your offense is so much better in a half court.
Or if you just have to simplify it down to running a basic, high low, ball screen action stuff like you would for a high school team that was just bigger than the other team. That's what this Illinois team is. It's going to have more size than most teams it faces. With the backcourt pairing of Georgie and Kofi, take advantage of that. Even if it might be so incredibly simple of just running high-low, you just do it because you have Kofi and you have Georgie and you have talented guards on the perimeter that could work off of that. But you're not seeing a lot of chemistry between them right now. Trent Frazier, I haven't seen a player have a role so reduced from one season to the
That's
next.
where I want to go.
And he's a junior, and he has the highest offensive rating on the team. By far the best 3-point shooter on the team. He's the only one coming. I'm not counting Georgie's 3-point shooting because of attempts, but I mean Georgie's shown that I'm liking what George is doing with 3-point shots.
He's shown that he can step out and hit one.
Exactly, but he doesn't have the attempts number for me to give him an official rating on how he is as a
Trent's
shooter.
the best 3-point shooter by
Trent Allen.
Trent's shooting 44% from 3. I think Allen is shooting 35% right now, which is decent.
And a lot of that goes from Trent's been hot late, and Allen has had those games too. That's where I want to go. Offensively, why aren't they giving Trent shots?
Exactly.
Even last night.
Why aren't they giving Trent more opportunity to get shots? He has his usage rating from last season to this season dropped by almost 10%, which is unheard of for someone that's going from being a sophomore to an upperclassman, had such a role those first 2 seasons. I haven't seen a player of his caliber ever have like a usage rate droppage like that. That's just insane to me. And it's Underwood trying to give the keys to Io basically to run this team, and I think that's a huge issue right now is Io. The way Io is
I'm
playing right
scared
now.
about Io.
He's not playing like he's a first. He's sure as hell not playing like a lottery pick. He ain't playing like a first round draft pick. He ain't even playing like a top 40 draft pick.
He's not playing like the 5-star recruit he is. He's not playing. I don't know what he's playing like.
I mean,
he looks so unconfident. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing.
His 3-point shot is broke for all intents and purposes.
He was 0-4 last night from 3.
His shot was never great to begin with, but I thought that's what this offseason was him developing that shot, getting stronger. Where is any of that? He doesn't even have like the strength to drive to the he'll drive to the basket a couple I don't know.
He needs to be more crafty in a half court driving to the basket.
Yeah.
He's too vanilla driving to the basket where he's straight right hand.
Yeah,
I wrote that down. I think his weaknesses are all being exposed. Offensively, teams know he's not that great of an outside shooter, so they're making him shoot. So, Brad, find a way to get him an open shot.
But wasn't that supposed to improve?
But ultimately, every player still has a weakness.
Well, yeah, but
and he showed improvement in it last year.
Well, his big issues right now are playmaking in the half court and his ball. He doesn't have a quick handle like a player like Chris Likes does, who can use his shiftiness as his ball handling.
He's not quick.
Separation.
You're right.
I just don't think Io can create his own shot unless he has a mismatch on him. I mean,
he's not athletic enough.
He's not athletic enough. He's not strong enough. He's just not quick enough. Before the season, I read a draft preview on Io. He's really good at a lot of things, but he's not excellent or even above good in any aspect of
besides transition.
He's just really good, except transition where he's dynamic. But he's just really good at a lot of things, but he's not excellent.
But you're not going to get transition when your defense
isn't forcing turnovers.
Stop it.
Or when you're turning the ball over. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the problem. Is nothing is like matching right now.
Exactly.
The defense isn't matching the offense. Nothing's working together right now. There's like individual pieces that are there.
One thing I think is working is Georgie and Kofi. That's the only thing I think is flowing for this.
And I just want to see Georgie get more shots around the basket. Yeah. Let him use his footwork, which he is. To steal your word, he's dynamic at his footwork around the basket. He's really good at it, and
he was great last night though. Even though he only scored 4
last night,
points.
he was 3 of 5 from the field. That's 60%. That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
like I'll take that every single night, but I want him to get more shots.
He's the best passer on the team.
His passing.
He had one pass last night. Oh,
was it the
maybe
was it the baseline
was it Kofi?
Drive?
Yeah, I think it was George. You had the pass.
Baseline drive, and he did a wraparound bounce pass.
Yeah.
That's a high level pass, and
easy.
I don't think there's any players on the team that makes that pass. It's not that, and that's a pass like most of them should be able to make. I just don't think they would. Maybe Felice in that situation.
I'm just worried because Big Ten teams are going to be able to figure that out. And they're be able.
Big Ten teams are going to have size that can match up.
Exactly, and so then what else do you have?
Exactly.
What else do you have?
You're hoping
you hope your guards,
and you're hoping your
you have them.
You hope that Io flips the switch like he did last year.
You're hoping that your NBA lottery pick projected before the season.
Your All Big Ten guard. Your first team All Big Ten guard.
You're hoping those guys step up.
Projected to get be in the running for all these awards. I feel like there was no progression. There's been no progression in Io from last year.
No, he's regressed.
I've seen nothing to be like,
jump shots
wow, he wants to take control of this team. This is supposed to be Io's team.
He tried to take control of it last night, and he turned it over in the most crucial moment.
I'll be honest. I said earlier in the year that he was the last thing I was going to be concerned about, and I'm still not. at a point where I'm like, all right, press the panic button. I'm not there yet.
That was what was
My hand is getting close. My hand is getting close to that big red panic button, but I'm not pressing it just yet with him.
That's what was interesting last night at the press conference from Brad. Usually when Underwood ever gets asked about Io and it may have potential concern, he says, I'm not worried about Io. But he got asked about Io's just offensive ability last night, and he didn't mutter those words. He gave, I can't remember word for word what his answer was, but yeah, he just basically said that he needs to be better, and that's concerning because the last year and a half, I've never heard Brad Underwood criticize.
No one has ever said a bad word about him.
About Io DeSumo, and now we're starting to hear it, and that should be a red flag.
Well, definitely, and I think up until maybe after last night's game, Underwood has just put the full team force into Io. You know, like, Io's going to do this. Io's going to make the run. Io's going to win this game for us.
He's going to lead us to the NCAA tournament.
Exactly, and now you question that. And you know what? We're not going to hit the panic button yet because we're at the beginning of a season. Right? We haven't started Big Ten.
It'll be Game 9 against Maryland.
Yeah. I think Io plays better I think he just plays better under better competition, but I'm worried that that's not going to happen. And I think the whole game plan up until this point for Underwood has been let Io get it. Let Io facilitate. Let him take the big shot at the end.
If that's the case, and what was last night's excuse? It was a nationally televised game, ESPN2, Big Ten ACC challenge, which is always huge and well recognized. Yeah. What happened? What happened? He turned it on late in the game with the big steal for the 4 points.
When are we going to play a full 40 minutes?
Against a real team.
Year 3, and I think this goes back to criticizing Underwood.
I
know, but I think this goes back to criticizing Underwood. This is year 3 of your program, and you still can't find consistency in it and what gels well for the team. And I think Underwood took blame for it last night. I think it was all well-deserved blame. You should have an understanding for what works for this team right now. By now, and what you're doing right now, it isn't working. Defensively, it isn't working the way you're, especially last night, the way they got exposed defensively against ball screens. And then on offense, running the spread with the duo of Kofi and Georgie. It's not meshing right now, and Underwood should have had something figured out by now to find the best optimize his roster.
Even last night, Underwood said nothing was working in the first half. The playbook was dry.
Yeah.
Why wasn't anything? How is nothing working?
Well, when he said that, he was mentioning how they were turning the ball over at such a high rate, you couldn't even run offense.
The thing is, I question him saying that. Like, if you look at the numbers, like the team numbers offensively, they weren't that bad in the first half. They shot 44% in the first half and 37.5% from 3.
It's turnovers.
Exactly. So if you take away the 6 turnovers in the first 8 minutes, like I said, and you take away half of them, and you have 3 in the first 8 minutes, that's still too many.
Then you get to take away about, I'd probably 6 to 8 points.
Yeah.
Miami scored 10 off of them, so take 6 off, yeah.
Well, I was talking about the complete 17 points that they scored.
Oh,
in the first half.
Well, and even in the second half, they shot 60% from the field and 33% from 3. And for the game, that equates to 52% from the field, 35% from 3. When have you seen a team lose when they shoot 52% from the field and 35% from 3?
I mean, that's pretty good. When
have you seen a team lose when they shoot that well?
I mean,
you don't.
You have to look at the turnover numbers.
You don't, and they lost because they can't play defense. They don't rotate. They don't help, and their closeouts were awful last night. And they switched to zone a few times.
Backpedaling on defense because they turned the ball over, or they got off a lot of times.
Always having to scramble.
Yeah, there was never a set defense. I mean, maybe a few times, but there was never a consistent time during the game where they were just set in defense and ready to go and closing up.
And they let guys get hot.
Yeah, and if you can't close out a 5'7" shooter.
That kid was the quickest kid on the court. I'll give him that.
He's quick, but where was...
And the best ball handler. Yeah. That kid's really good.
No, he was... I think he was amazing, but you still have to be able to close him out.
Yeah, well, closeouts were just terrible because guys were just flying to the ball.
Yeah.
Underwood even brought it up the day before, how essential closeouts were going to be, and when you're turning the ball over the way they were, defense is going to be scrambling, which is going to lead to bad closeouts, a lack of discipline, and then you just get exposed.
Yeah.
You get exposed. like they did in the first half. And, I mean, that's just what happens when you turn the ball over like that. And the turnovers that happened last night were just lackadaisical. Guys dribbling it off their foot. Guys just not catching passes or being ready to catch passes. Trying to force something in isolation when you don't run a motion offense. You run a spread offense with set guys cutting certain ways, moving certain ways. Why are people trying to take other people in isolation like that in the first half? It's just lackadaisical, unprepared team, and frankly, it all falls back on Underwood.
He took the blame for it.
I know, he did take the blame.
So make it right against Maryland or Michigan.
You at least you better come out and play so competitive. You better act.
Oh, they're gonna practice for several hours over the next couple of days.
They better look like they want.
My gosh.
They looked like they did not want.
I don't think
crap
Brad's
against
vocabulary.
Miami.
I don't think Brad's vocabulary is like safe for the public in the next this is
72 hours.
Week leading up to the game.
I'm praying for those players, but
they deserve all of it.
they deserve.
You want to talk leadership?
Sure.
I mean, we kind of already hit it.
I want to hit.
This team doesn't have a leader right
Who
now.
do you want the leader to be? I wrote a couple
Io.
down. I want Io to just be who he is supposed to be on the court.
It has to be.
He is off
Okay,
the
but
court.
he
He
needs
is great off the court. He is great with the media. He's very well liked. I mean,
Okay, but
he speaks.
This
People.
series been
Yeah.
You know what I mean. He's
been very short.
He's very well spoken.
Usually, yeah.
He's very well spoken. He's a nice guy. He's got a good smile. There's a reason he's on billboards across the state, right? Like he's a likable person. All right, you're great off the court. What are you going to be on the court? Be who you're supposed to be. Be the leader on the court. Take command, take control. And I feel like he is outspoken, right? Like, I feel like he's kind of quiet at times, but I feel like when you get him into a basketball environment, he's not the guy who's going to be like quiet and laid back, a more lead by example guy. I feel like that's Andres Feliz.
He's one of those guys that you have to, like, when you ask him a question, it has to be about anything other than him. Which is, I mean, again, it just goes towards him. I mean, guys don't like to talk about themselves, but they love to talk about their teammates, stuff like that. But, I mean, going off of what you said, Io just has to be the leader of this team if this team's going to go anywhere. This team, at the end of the day, this team's going to live or die with the way Io does assuming plays. Because if he's going to be the star player of your team, if he's going to be the guy that has the ball in his hands in situations like last night at the end of the game, he has to be that guy that converts on it, and people will follow that. I mean, Andres Feliz, I know is a huge leader on the team as well, but at the end of the day, it goes back to your highly touted potential NBA player and Io.
The guy you've said is your leader, the guy who said is your guy.
And right now, I mean, I don't see a team that's holding itself accountable right now. Brad Underwood teams are notorious for being player driven, where the players on the team set the standards of
which they haven't been the last 2 years for Illinois because Brad was building that culture, which is okay.
And he thought it was established this year, and it's not.
It just worries me.
And it's unacceptable.
Where the team is at. You know, like, because, like, is anybody even buying into Io as your leader right now?
That's a good question.
And it's like,
is the team bought into Io?
Is the team bought into Underwood? Is another really good question.
Yeah.
I think that is a better question than are they bought into Io?
I think they're bought into Underwood.
Yeah, I think that
really, because they came out real flat last night. And he said they had 3 really bad practices and an awful shootout last night.
But sometimes at the same time, your leaders of the team have to bring you up to that point too. I mean,
but if there's no leaders, right? Like,
but that doesn't.
There has to be a leader.
But I know, but leaders feed off of coaching. That's how it's always been in sports.
I don't think this.
I think it is.
No, I don't think.
I think your leaders are the ones.
Assign leaders from guys that they can see.
No, leaders are naturally born. Leaders step into a locker room and they've been there. They've been there 2 minutes.
They don't need a coach to show them how to lead.
That's what I'm saying. Is that leaders are naturally born.
Io's not a leader then.
No, I'm saying he can be a leader, but he needs to be a leader on the court and be the player he's supposed to be.
Yeah, and
which we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
But that's not Underwood's problem.
It's not Underwood's
fault. That's Io's problem. Is Io even bought into himself as a leader right now?
Yeah. I mean, his freshman year, he took over the team. I mean, and the team responded to that. Now it's year 2, and
so now
Io's
why
not
isn't the
producing
team responding?
And the team's not responding.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it comes down to coaching.
I don't think so.
Because you have the same pieces except Kofi.
Yeah.
That's why I think it comes down to Underwood, and it comes down to coaching.
Pieces and players should be maturing as well, and and the culture within those players should be defined. And the fact that it's not right now,
I don't think Underwood's done anything to take that leadership away from Io. I think Io just hasn't stepped up and hasn't shown his team that he can be the leader. Io's had his opportunities, and he hasn't made anything of them.
We say all this, though, but we don't see what happens behind closed doors.
Exactly.
We can't 100% say whether or not this guy is being enough of a leader or whatnot. This is all speculation, but
we can see it on the court.
Exactly. We're going on what we see on the court. And frankly, it was guys on the court not holding each other accountable. And that just goes back to leadership and what we're talking about right now. And it's guys like Andres Felice who's trying to establish that accountability. It's guys like...
I feel like Andres is a lead by example guy.
Exactly.
And you need those players too.
But
and part of that
quiet.
And part of that is probably...
Actually, I've heard players say in practice that Andres is very loud. So maybe that's different. But Io, at the end of the day, has to be that guy.
On the
Another
court, that's
person
going to turn everybody up.
There's two other people who I feel like need to step up as leaders. One is Trent. And Trent has been here. He's gone through the trials and tribulations. He's clearly a team first guy right now.
Yep.
You mentioned his usage rate is down 10%, and he lit up the scoreboard his freshman year. Sophomore year, he realizes, okay, for this team to really take a step, I'm gonna have to let Io score. And he realized it again. If this team's gonna really take a step, and he's bought in to what the coaching staff has said, he's clearly a team first guy, and he's bought in defensively. All right,
Trent's problem is off the court.
I want to say that. I think Trent's the one guy that he struggled last night against Chris Likes, but who didn't struggle last night against Chris Likes? And he wasn't getting any help.
On the court, Trent is there every night. Yeah. He's locked in. He's dialed in every single night.
I haven't seen
he shows up to practice, according to what Underwood says. Trent plays hard. Every time he steps onto the court, he plays with a passion. You know, he plays with a name on the front.
Yeah, I mean,
he's proud to play at Illinois.
He wants the best offensive player on their team, the best guard on. He wants to guard the best guard on the other team. That's something Trent would have never wanted to do coming into Illinois. In high school, he didn't really care about defense either. But now he's taking a pride in it. And I think you're right. Trent needs to be a bit better leader on the team. And I think he's one of the guys like Andres. I think he's one of those guys that's trying to lead by example. And Trent,
you got to speak up.
It might be time to speak up, especially if Io's not doing that. We don't know what's happening with that, but from what we're seeing on the court, it looks like this team's still looking for someone to lead them.
My other one is Georgie. He's passionate.
Yeah.
He loves the team. He loves the university. He loves basketball.
I think Georgie's
a hard worker. He's a hard worker. Yeah. You have the ability to lead by example and by vocal. Yeah. Do it. Figure it out.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
You want to talk about a Gabby point? Do you have one?
No, I just don't think Georgie's the problem. I think...
Oh, no.
No, I'm not sure.
No, but I don't think he can do much else than what he's already doing. You know what I mean? Like, I think he does have that voice, and I think it really comes down to the fact that last year, everybody bought into Io. Everybody bought into Io. Io was Brad's leader, blah, 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 blah. And so they came in with that same mentality, or did they? You know, like, I just think...
They fed into the...
I think there's an off-the-court problem. Not necessarily, like, completely off the court, but, like, something's not clicking in practice or, you know, with the guys. Because there's no energy on the court.
Yeah,
and there's
when you don't show up to game day ready to go, it shows about how this team is off the court with their preparation and their mentality.
Exactly.
And that's what's...
That's
why we're talking about culture right now.
Yeah, because we don't see all that happening.
Yeah. This is just where all of those concerns I had after the first couple games are just rearing their ugly head again.
Because we had no culture concerns about this team before.
No, you're right, but I had concerns, and I feel like everything is just like tied together, and they have the ability to prove us all wrong over the next couple of games. And it would be very Illinois basketball or very Illinois sports to go and do something really funny and upset Maryland or upset Michigan.
Yeah.
Like that. Tell me that's not just the most Illinois sports thing ever.
Oh yeah. It
is.
Or play like two incredibly competitive games.
Lose one on a buzzer beater heartbreaker or something crazy happens and you're like, oh wow.
I mean, I don't think they win either of these games.
I need to see competitiveness.
I feel like the Michigan game has to be like a must-win game almost, it feels.
Yeah.
I feel worse about the Michigan game than I do the Maryland game.
Oh, I do too. I'm just saying, like,
for sure.
The way it's all shaping out, it feels like winning one of these games is a must.
It's crucial.
Just because you lost this Miami game, just to put you back on track, and you're playing number 3 and 4 teams in the country.
You can't only have wins against bad non-conference teams on your resume going into Big Ten.
I saw a tweet today that said this game is going to be the one that either determines if Illinois gets in the tournament or not. And I kind of agreed with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to be... You're right now, I think you look at their Big Ten schedule, and you have to say for them to get into the tournament, assuming they beat Mizzou and North Carolina A&T and Old Dominion. That was the game we forgot, Old Dominion. That they're going to have to go like 12-8 or something like that in the Big Ten. And I don't know if they're good enough to do that, especially with the way their Big Ten schedule starts. You guys want to move to football checklist, off-season checklist?
Yeah.
This is happier talks. Wow.
This is a little happier.
Do you ever, hold on, do you ever just think about how, like, Adam Miller?
I'm just waiting for Michigan to just beat us by 40 at State Farm Center and Adam Miller to just decommit and just commit to Michigan. Just commit to Michigan.
Bye, guys.
That would be awful for the fans of this program.
It'd be pretty funny. I like to see the world burn.
I said last night to my friends I thought it'd be comical if it happened.
Oh, yeah.
No.
It would be hard.
I'd be sad.
I would be shocked.
You're done after this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't care regardless.
I would be shocked if he decommitted. And the only reason I think he decommits is if Io announces he comes back.
Yeah.
Io's going to come back. He's not going to get drafted by anybody.
Correct. All right, so this is like a flip of script. Illinois football is like better right now than Illinois basketball.
The program's in a better state.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. What is happening with Illinois sports world? Wow. Remember 2 weeks ago when we had our show by ourselves and I said, wow, this could be a really fun time when we come back. If Illinois beats Iowa, Northwestern.
And then they lost both those games.
Then they lose both. I'm like, oh, well, our show's going to be right after the Miami game. With like clap Miami. Like, wow. All right. Do you guys have a list of things that you want to see done? Because I kind of do. Or if you guys just want me to say mine and if you want to like agree or disagree.
Just say yours and we'll play all.
And we'll add in.
All right. So my first one is bringing this coaching staff back. There's two guys. There's two guys whose contracts are gone or like expired. Corey Patterson is one. You better bring him. You better bring him back, and you better offer him as much money as he wants.
You better slide him a blank check.
Yep. He's been wanted. Big time.
Oh, yeah.
Les Miles wanted him at Kansas.
Oh, for sure.
Well, his recruiting
last year when Les Miles got hired at Kansas, he called Corey and said, "How much is it for you to come to Kansas?" And Lovey upped his paycheck.
Yeah.
To keep him.
You had to because I mean, when this program was at its lowest point, Corey was the one bringing in the recruits, keeping this recruiting class respectable. And by respectable, I mean pretty much mediocre compared to the rest of the Big Ten.
And honestly,
but that's the best he did the best you could do with Illinois at that point.
This isn't meant to be a shot at Stoker, Andrew Hayes Stoker, the wide receiver coach, or Mike Bellamy, both of which I think did very good jobs with their groups this year. And Corey's definitely not going to move to offensive line, but he almost deserves a promotion of some sort. I mean, of some sort, I think he deserves one. Just based off of what he's done with the tight end group in general, I think he. I'm also just a big fan of Corey. He's one of my favorite people to talk to.
Well, it's because you're from
related to football, exactly. Second one that's coming, that's contract is open. Gil Bird. I think that's very important to bring him back.
Yeah, bring him back. I think he's a big culture piece for this team. The way I think
and the safeties played well.
Yeah, they did overall.
With what they had,
Stanley Green took a step.
Yep.
Sidney Brown took a step once he got healthy. The safeties clearly got better. Here's one I find interesting. Would you hire a defensive coordinator?
No.
No.
I don't
Lovey's
think
not.
I mean,
I don't think he's going to.
You could hire a recruiter. I mean, and give Gil Bird the title.
You do still have an empty spot on your staff, right?
I just think Lovey's so set in his defense.
I don't mind that idea.
Move Gil Bird to DC and then bring in someone just to be a recruiter.
So this is way, way too outside of the box, and it's not going to happen, but I really would like Lovey to look into it.
Talking about
Barry Odom.
Yeah, I was about to say, and that's an interesting idea. But
I think it's a good idea. I think that Mizzou has always had good defenses under Barry Odom. I think that part of Illinois' defensive success this year was a little bit covered up by, or downfalls, I mean. Their success on defense was shown with the turnovers, but their downfalls were covered up by how many turnovers they forced. Yeah. And I think if you allow your defense to really take the next step as a whole, pass rush. Most notably.
Well, that's where you're hoping guys like Seth Coleman develop.
You're right.
Isaiah Gay develops.
You get a defense that's really good schematically, and you get a defense that's really good at forcing turnovers, and look what you have, a really, really good defense.
Yeah.
But I don't think
the whole schematic of the defense, though, is the forced turnovers.
Yeah.
Correct. I don't think Barry Odom has an interest in it. I don't think that Illinois has an interest in it.
There's no mutual interest, I think.
But I would love to see them at least look into it.
Very interesting. And I think they will do some due diligence.
Another thing is, it helped you with recruiting.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing about bringing Odom in is that it would help you with recruiting.
It would, yes. All right, that actually floats into my next one. I say do everything you can to get/flip a top target. Obviously, the get is Antonio Doyle, St. Louis kid, edge rusher, linebacker, defensive end, four-star recruit, one of the most physically impressive kids
one of the best
in this class.
linebackers in probably the best
in the Midwest.
Yeah, best linebacker in the Midwest, one of the top linebackers in the country. That would be a huge get. Jalen St. John reopened his recruitment.
That was the third one I listed.
It's another one Illinois has always been on hard, but now that he chose Mizzou, I'm not sure how much Lovey's going to want to go back into. And
that's where I wanted to talk.
Lovey can sometimes be that guy that will keep the door shut if you shut it for him. So that'll be interesting, but also this program's in a different place where maybe that'll change. Who knows?
That's where I wanted to go. Because, who's the receivers from Chicago? Phillips.
Thompson and, Jaden Thompson.
No.
Oh, wait, what?
That committed here, decommitted, and then they wanted back, and then Lovey said no.
Oh, Bryce Childress.
Yeah, Bryce Childress.
Yeah.
Quick.
I'll be intrigued to see if they let Jalen come back if he wants to.
Quick backtrack. Has Doyle said anything about when he's supposed to be committing? No, he hasn't given. Okay.
No, and I don't know if he signs in the early period. You would know more about it than I would, Eric.
No, I don't think he's going to sign in the early period. I think he's going to be someone that.
I was not too in on recruiting, so I didn't know if he's
Especially with the way Mizzou is, I think he's going to wait and see.
Well, he backed out of Mizzou.
He backed out, but he kept it. He kept it as an option, though.
Yeah, but are those? When someone decommits, are they ever really an option anymore?
Yeah, I don't know if I've never seen. I don't think I've ever seen someone go back.
I think you're really fighting off Texas A&M for him.
Oh, I think so too.
And being close to home would be it's clearly important to him. That's why one of the reasons why he committed to Mizzou. But I think if you win your bowl game and you're over 500, he's clearly shown a lot of interest in you. He was here for Wisconsin. You said you saw him here for the Rutgers game too.
That's big that he was here for Wisconsin.
He's going to see. It'll be interesting, though, to see if he has a spot open.
They make a spot.
They make a spot. But, it might not be a spot right away for him.
Well, yeah.
They make a spot. Well, there's certain people you make a spot for. Like, if Mookie Cooper called right now and said, I want in, they're making a spot. You're making a spot.
Probably.
But I don't think Lovey's the guy to just
That's just not how that works.
Yeah.
You make a spot. Somehow, some way you find a spot.
You don't just offer starting jobs.
Yeah.
No, I meant scholarship-wise. In your recruiting class.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not talking starting.
Well, of course you make a spot.
You're going to.
No, sorry, I thought we were on the same page here.
Okay. I know. I was
you're going to give those guys a damn scholarship.
That's what I meant.
Like a starting
I was like, you can't. You don't just.
No, I was talking a scholarship, in your spot, in your recruiting. You know how numbers work.
Yeah.
They're seeing this right now with offensive line. Are they going to have and really defensive line too? They've got a lot of guys on defensive line that are interested.
You have a good amount of guys on that defensive line. You could take scholarships.
Correct, but eventually you might have to get to a point where you're selective with who you want to take, which is new for Illinois. Antonio Johnson.
I think that's done.
I think it is too, but.
That's 100% done, I think.
I think it is, but they're still in his ear. East St. Louis is still in his ear, I think, a little bit about it. Can you flip him? It'd be hard. It'd be really, really hard.
I'm pretty sure he's going to A&M.
I think he is too.
100% going to A&M.
I think he is too. I think he is almost as much 100% to A&M as Mookie Cooper is to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Mookie Cooper is 100% going to Ohio State.
He's going 100%. Yeah.
And he's going to torch Illinois next year.
It's going to be,
at Memorial Stadium. It's going to be fun to watch.
It's
really fun to watch Mookie Cooper play football.
Fun to watch.
You ever watched his film? Mookie's film?
Yeah.
It is some of the most impressive high school film I've ever watched.
He's fast.
He's very fun to watch play. We hit on Jalen St. John. I would take him. Yeah. If he wants in and he wants to commit,
I think
I would take him.
It depends on what happens with Doyle, too. You mentioned it. Illinois is in a weird spot where they kind of have to pick and choose their scholarships right now. Beforehand, it was like, nope, come on board. We got you.
Please come.
We got your back now. Now it's kind of like, oh, hold on a second.
Yeah,
and that's an interesting spot for Illinois.
No, I think it's exciting that we kind of have those options now, and they can be like,
I think
You also have
think
3
they'll
offensive
take him.
linemen too.
And you have a bunch of guys that are going to graduate. I mean, here soon. I mean, Verdarian.
I think you have to take him.
Yeah, Verdarian Love's going to graduate. Doug Kramer's a junior. I don't think he's a red shirt. Is he a red shirt?
He's gone after 2020.
Yeah, so this is his last year too. I mean, yeah, and Pettibon's gone.
The only one back after 2020 is Kendrick Green.
Yeah, and I mean
That started this season.
Theoretically, he could declare too.
Yeah, if he wanted to, yeah. Especially after the season he had. He was very good.
Very good season. Doug Kramer had the best season on the line, though, low key.
According to PFF, right? Mm-hmm. Kendrick Green was right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Next on my list is recruit the defensive line heavy. You're losing Kenyon Jackson. You're losing Tymir Oliver, Ayo Shagbonyo, Jamal Milan. I don't know how I forgot him. You're getting better at least. Yeah, you're losing your top 3 defensive tackles. You're losing a defensive end.
Yeah, you're hoping guys like Calvin Avery and Deion Pate step in and fill in that role, and I think they will. I think Calvin Avery showed a good amount of flashes this year.
I'd like to see Calvin really take a step.
I think he will. I really do think Calvin will take a step next year. Deion Pate's always been solid. Jamal Woods, I think, will get moved back inside. I want to say, I think that other DN spot will be a battle between Isaiah Gay and Seth Coleman.
Keith Randolph too.
Keith Randolph.
Keith's ahead of Seth right now on the depth chart, wouldn't you say?
Although
it's hard to answer that because Seth is a red shirt.
Seth has a lot more potential
to be a
an
really
elite,
good edge
not
rusher.
an elite.
I was going to say that too, but then I changed it.
Yeah, not an elite defensive end, but he has the measurables to look like an elite defensive end.
I feel like Randolph is like your solid backup.
Yeah.
I like
next
Keith.
year.
No, I like Keith.
Keith's still really raw. I also just really like Keith as a person. Last time he was
also from the area.
Yeah, I actually knew Keith from high school, but Keith was really funny last night. I posted a picture on Twitter of him like smiling and joking. Like I walked by and he was just smiling. I was like, okay, that's really funny. So I took a picture of it and posted it on Twitter.
Defensive line, you have to kind of go after a little bit now that you're going to be losing 4 guys now.
And there's names out there they feel good about. Anthony Shipton is one. He's a JUCO transfer. Dervay Levelston. I don't know if that's how you say it, but he's a JUCO transfer as well. This is my favorite one, name-wise, Jakari Wiggles. I like that one a lot. He's currently committed to Georgia Tech, 3-star recruit. Another one committed to Maryland. He's a 3-star recruit. Jarazhan Newton. I don't think I said that right either. And then this one you're hearing a lot of good things about. Trayvon Riggins, the 3-star former Miami commit. I think that one is almost...
I think that's whole.
Not locked up.
Not locked, but I think Illinois is sitting in a very favorable spot with Riggins.
There, and I feel like they need to hit on some of those.
Yeah, I think they will.
Here's an interesting one. I'd like to see your guys' opinion on this. Develop young defensive linemen, particularly Randolph Coleman and Moses Akpala. That's a name we haven't said yet. And quarterbacks. And that includes, for me...
Quarterbacks have to develop.
That includes C.J. Dixon, because that includes the offseason.
Quarterback
and
is interesting next year.
If you get him.
But at the same time, I mean... Peters didn't give you...
He's your starting quarterback next year.
Yeah, he didn't give you any reason to not give him the starting job immediately right when training camp happened.
It's his job to lose. He has to lose it.
No,
and I think it's his job to lose by a large... Like, he has to just come in and just, crap the bed during training camp.
Yeah. Because he has to lose it. No one's taking it from him.
He took this team to a bowl game. He did.
Yeah.
Is he the offensive MVP? I know he didn't win that.
No.
Who is for you then?
I think, if you want to base it off one play, you give it to Bebe.
Yeah.
I think Bebe is right there.
If you want to do that, but
Corbin's not. Dre Brown?
Maybe. He's the one that got it.
Yeah.
I respect that.
I feel like Dre Brown almost got it too for his story, which is great.
The consistency that he brought to this offense allowed for so many other things to open up too.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was good. For as much...
I think that's right. I think throughout this season, Dre Brown meant more to this offense.
Consistency.
From game 1 to game. Yeah, I can see that.
But if you want to look at the game that sent him to a bowl game, you look at Peter. I think you look at Peters before you look at Bebe. And that's by, not by
It's also position-wise, too. A quarterback's always going to be more important than a wide receiver.
Was just gunslinging that fourth quarter, but...
But yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what you really get in one. What do you have in one?
You need to see Isaiah Williams take a huge step. I still think
he's going to be good.
I think it's kind of concerning right now that we're at this point in the season and he hasn't surpassed Matt Robinson. I think that's a tiny concern that I'm kind of curious about.
But definitely a concern.
But besides that, that's not a huge thing, but that's kind of like something I'm thinking.
A lot of that you have to factor the injuries into, though.
And trying to keep a red shirt, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't have mattered, though, if he played in this Northwestern game.
No, he has one more game left.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't know.
It'll just be interesting
Also,
to see what he
Matt-
does in the offseason.
What does Matt Robinson do? Do you lose
He
him?
brought you back to Michigan.
Yeah, I know, but
That's why I'm saying.
is that someone who wants to transfer? Like,
No,
he's here
I
with
think-
Rod.
I think
They're
him-
like that. But, like,
exactly.
I could see him potentially being like, I'm not going to play. I'm never going to start.
Yeah, but sometimes players do want that
Yeah.
action.
And just that
I
backup
like Matt.
job.
Matt's a good guy. I like
He's a
Matt.
good guy.
But, yeah, I want to see what do you have in one? And that's what I'm really looking forward to in spring ball. How much improvement he has. This is another one, and this is, in my opinion, like the biggest loss that this team has. You got to be strong up the middle. You got to replace a lot defensively. Milan's gone. Tamir Oliver's gone. Kenyon Jackson's gone. You're losing your top 3 defensive tackles.
I mean, Calvin Avery has to look like a potential NFL draft pick, like he was thought to be coming in.
Yeah.
Illinois.
Dele Harding, gone. And you're losing a lot more than just a good football player with Dele Harding. You're losing your defense and probably one of the spines of your defensive leader.
Kind of a battle with between Tariq Barr, maybe even Kalen Tolson will get his name thrown in.
Do you
there.
put-
He played well in Hanson's absence, so I think you're gonna have a middle linebacker battle between.
I would move
think-
Hansen there.
No, I keep him at weak side.
I'm putting Hansen there because I think it keeps your linebacker core more athletic if you slide Cooper into weak side, or you slide Tolson, or if you slide Barnes into weak side, because you know you're going to keep Milo strong side. And it takes a lot of pressure off of a young, unproven linebacker if you put him on weak side instead of strong side.
I think Tariq Barnes is going to take the mic.
And everyone wants it to be Shaman Cooper.
Yeah, and Tariq made such a huge jump. I mean,
Really good
from
Hats
from
off to Miles Smith for finding him.
From the time they recruited him to the time he showed up to training camp, it was like, whoa, like this dude looks like a linebacker. And like
Props to Miles Smith.
And when they got him, he was like 6'2", 180, I think. He looked more like, I don't know if it was 180, it might have been 200. 200, 210-ish, and that's not great linebacker size. And he showed up to training camp, and it was like, oh, they might have done something here. They might have found a diamond here. But yeah, everyone wants it to be Shaman, and it frankly should. I think his time will come.
A year in a college weight room will be huge
because he
for
has
him.
all the measurables that are perfect in a Lovie Smith defense, being with his height at linebacker,
length.
with his length, with his athleticism. He has all. He checks off all the boxes with this potential for what he can do in a Lovie Smith defense. I just think, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be. That's going to be a very.
I would
battle.
like to see them just move Hansen to middle linebacker, just on the fact of like his leadership abilities, the way he
could be a
played
leader
this year.
from
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be captain next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's captain this year.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what he does next year, and I think he'll be a middle linebacker.
Okay.
I think. Let's do this. Who are your 2 starting corners and 2 starting safeties next year?
Well, I mean, Hobbs isn't going anywhere.
Hobbs is
Yeah.
locked in. Sidney
So-
Brown is locked in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
So who is your strong safety and who is your opposite corner?
Tony Adams will be the other corner,
Yes.
and so
Yeah, there's been talk about moving him back. That's why I asked the
maybe.
question.
But there's also been a lot of talk of getting Quan Martin to free safety,
That's what I would do.
and I think Quan Martin has great ball skills. I think he's.
Marquise Beeson.
Yeah.
Do you put it? Does he start? See, this is why I think it's interesting because I
You're
think
gonna have a rotation.
your best defensive backs are, in my opinion, in this order: Nate Hobbs. This is hard to do in order.
Tony Adams.
Nate Hobbs, Tony Adams.
So those 2 are your starters.
I think that Marquez, if healthy, is potentially your best corner next year.
I don't think he's as good as Hobbs, just because Hobbs is a freak athlete.
So is Marquez.
Yeah, but Hobbs is more of a freak athlete.
Okay, yeah,
And
and Marquez is going to get thrown at.
Yeah.
More than Hobbs will.
Yeah, just a freshman. But,
Okay, so Hobbs,
I think
Adams.
he could surpass Tony Adams for sure.
Okay, so let's do Hobbs, Adams, Marquez. I'm going Sidney Brown 4.
Oh yeah, out of the.
And then I would go with Quan, Devin Witherspoon.
He earned his
Yeah.
name to be. In
Where
that.
does he go?
I don't know. You
You have to
feel good
see-
about your
Your DBs
defensive
you
back.
feel so good about.
Maybe safeties is a little meh, but safeties.
That's
at
why
home
I
are
like-
always a very meh.
That's why getting like an Antonio Johnson would be huge.
I mean, he wouldn't play his freshman year.
Good.
He redshirt. I mean, he's a great talent and everything, but
Good.
I don't know. Maybe,
Plug and play.
especially if you
Rotate.
want to keep Tony Adams at corner, then I think he has a big chance to play.
I like Tony at corner, and he likes it at corner more.
One thing, too, I want to talk about is I think Virtus Brown is going to take a huge leap taking the right guard. The right guard spot is his to lose next season. I think Virtus
Jordan
Brown,
Slaughter's in there, too.
Yeah, but I think Virtus has been I think Virtus is way more ready for the right guard. And
you want it to be Virtus.
He's been second string. He was second string all of training camp. He was second string during the year. And I think Virtus, I mean...
They want it to be Virtus.
He's so athletic for his size. I think he's going to have a hell of a year next year at right guard. I think it's his spot next year. And I think that offensive line takes a bigger jump.
What else do you want to see? We got a couple of minutes left. Off-season wise, or going into next season.
I want to see Peters just be, like, in charge 100%.
He's not going to put up Tanner Morgan numbers that Tanner Morgan put up this year because he doesn't have a Rashad Blackman or a Tyler Johnson, but I want him to be good.
I also want to see wide receiver 2 be a big role in this offense. I mean, Josh Amateur Bebe did a lot of things.
Do they go add another wide receiver in the grad transfer market?
No.
Who's a kid from Penn State?
You don't want to clog things up. You're bringing in... I mean, you got guys like Kyron Cumbie. You bring in Frenchie and Thompson. You got
both
you
of
got
the
Trayvon
Thompson
Sidney
should redshirt.
Probably, yeah. Because build-wise, he's just not there. I mean,
unless someone incredible showed up.
Yeah, who's the Penn State kid?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. What else do you guys want to see?
I think we hit on most of the spots. Honestly, I mean, we talked
about. James McCourt is a junior, right?
No. No, he's back. But back. Caleb Griffin could take that job.
Yeah. I need a consistent kicker.
Look, I love Illini fans like, hey, thanks for Wisconsin, James, but we're ready to move on from you.
No, he's just not consistent, especially
16. Yeah, that's not consistent at all.
So I think I need a consistent kicker. That's what I want.
No, he's listed as a junior on fightingillini.com.
Yeah, because he's going to Dublin next year.
No, that's 2021.
2021.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing I mean, did you think Caleb Griffin had that job out of training camp? I know a lot of people did.
No. Because I didn't think Griffin was very good in training camp.
So you thought McCourt had it?
A lot of people, I was one of the, not to like try and toot my own horn here, but I was one of the only people that like thought McCourt like won the job in training camp.
Okay.
Like a lot of people, because it felt like it was Caleb Griffin's job to lose, and I thought he lost it because he wasn't very consistent at all.
Well, he was much better in the spring.
Yeah, but I mean, fall was the one that matters. And he was better in fall.
Here's another thing I'd like to see them do.
McCourt was better in fall.
Punt return.
Kyron Cumbie.
I want him back there.
It was ridiculous that Kyron Cumbie did not field punts this year. I thought that was
because he wasn't ready.
And they wanted to redshirt him too.
Yeah. I'd like to see him back there. Maybe back there returning kicks too. If he doesn't die, he's quite little.
Yeah. He's really little.
He's littler than Chris Likes.
Littler.
That's not a word. Smaller.
I don't think Chris Likes was 5'7".
Well, they listed him at 5'8".
I thought they listed him as 5'7".
I thought they listed him at 5'7", but it doesn't matter. He was a true 5'7". That kid's short.
He was sitting at the end.
He was sitting at the end of the bench, and I took a picture of him because I thought it was really, really funny. And he looked really, really small.
I came back to bite people in the ass.
Orange Crush was giving it to him.
Oh, I'm sure. And then
he gave it right back harder. So.
All right, that was a really good show. I'm looking forward to Thursday's show. I feel like this was one of our better shows, if I'm being honest. Thursday's show is going...
We've had stuff to talk about. The last couple of weeks were pretty slow weeks.
Yeah, I liked the show. But Thursday we're going to have women's basketball maybe. We're definitely going to have volleyball. Mm-hmm. Gabby, you're going to want to hit on that. I might want to hit on that a little bit too. Basketball traveling out to Maryland. Maybe we'll have some football news to talk about. Maybe a recruiter or two.
Yeah. I mean, plus we'll find out where... I mean, next week we'll find out where they are bowl-wise too.
We can do bowl projections one last time.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, thank you for watching or / listening. I don't know what term to really use. Illini Drive. I am your host, Alec Busse. We will see you on Thursday with this crew.